And we're live.
Good morning, good evening. Good morning, good evening, and good night. We are the Beerumverate. It's myself, Keith, also known as McWomble. We have live from Japan, the land of the rising sun, Evan Piotrowski. Evan, say hi.
Hello.
And our technical guru, because that definitely won't be Evan, because he can't get anything to work on time, even though it's in the middle of the afternoon at 6 a.m. for me. We have Matthew Burkoff.
Good morning, good evening, and good night. My camera's stuttering. You just called me out as the technical guru, and here I am.
Well, we'll run with it. It's not exactly a high-quality production.
No.
The hottest topical show on the internet at the moment. We are the Beerumverate. We're three guys who like beer and video games. We're not here to promote drinking, especially at 6 a.m., which is why I had tea. We may talk about certain beers that we like or we don't like. We are not paid by anyone to do any of this. Apologies for the short hiatus. Matt was off doing social things because he actually has friends, and I was just really, really ill. But now we are back to cover all the topical gaming news and some other stuff.
Yeah, finally back.
Do we want to talk about Sony?
What about Sony exactly, though? I mean,
they're no longer going to be at E3.
I didn't hear about that. When did this come out?
A couple of days ago.
Yeah,
you didn't
Friday.
hear about that? Yeah, Sony's not coming. Sony's not having a press conference at E3. They're not even going to be on the show floor.
Jesus. I guess I've just been so involved in work, like I didn't even notice this shit.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's crazy, especially because they kind of dominated this year. I mean, you got God of War, Spider-Man.
Yeah, but there's a couple of things I saw on Twitter. It's arrogant Sony is back. Bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry. I'm listening. I'm just trying to find a tweet that is.
Is it the diagram of the show floor?
Brings a different topic, but is it arrogant Sony, or is it just E3? They don't need E3 anymore. Not only that, like they only showcased 4 games last year, basically. You know, it's Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, Spider-Man, and what was the last one? I don't know, but they had these 4 games, and I don't know if they have anything else coming out. I mean, those 3 out of those games aren't even out yet, so they can't really showcase them again.
I also think it's a case of is E3 now too expensive? EA are doing their own thing, but around about the same time. So why not just hire someone cheaper?
I think they're just going to do their own thing. I mean, they can do PSX in the spring or whenever they want, and then just.
Or whenever they want to launch the PlayStation 5. Last time they did it at E3, and some of their hype got swallowed up by other stuff.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, they announced it. They did that technical specification video with Mark Cerny, and then they did a big thing about it.
I suppose it's possible that they're just waiting until 2020 to reveal the PS5. Skip a year because they know they don't really have anything right now. I mean, what's the studio that's doing Ghost of Tsushima?
Sucker Punch, people who made the Infamous games.
Oh, okay. So that. Yeah, I mean, they can't really do a presentation without Sony. So maybe that's like a PS5 launch game or something. Maybe it's not going to be a PS4 game.
Maybe Days Gone's going to be a PS5 launch game because that's taking long enough.
Oh yeah, that's probably going to be a PS5 game.
I am not interested in that game at all. I don't know what it is. Oh, Days Gone was probably the other one that they showcased out of those 4 games.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that, but one thing is, I'm so fucking sick of zombies.
Yeah, me too.
They just pester you when you go into the shops. Oh no, that's Ulti.
There's just it's I'm just done with zombies. We need to take a break. Let's move to like werewolves or fucking vampires or something. And
Actually, dude, Order 1887 would be pretty badass.
yeah, everyone trashed that game, but I actually really liked it. I was surprised.
It was the first quarter of a full game.
Right. Okay. If you want to make trash that part of it, I totally understand. But for me, I hate saying that. It just reminds me of Bill Burr. For me, he always says that when people are talking about their feelings. It just
Right.
sounds so. Yeah. Anyways, I bought it for like $5, and I got a solid 8 hours out of it. So like, there's very little for me to complain about. I could see maybe getting in on $60 and saying like, "That's it? Are you kidding me?" But
Yeah.
for what I paid for it, I was like, "Oh, that was great." In between like two massive like 40-hour games, it was a really nice shooter, and I like the whole idea of like the Knights of the Round Table
Continued in secrecy.
continuing. Yeah, I thought that was so cool, like protecting this alternate like Victorian era England from beasts. I think the premise is cool.
Yeah, I agree.
They could have
And
taken
it had black bars on the top and bottom of the screen, which means that it's a really great game because that's what people say about Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, very
cinematic.
Cinematic. That's like in Red Dead, you hold in the touchpad and it's like, oh yeah, there's black bars now. Watch out.
Yeah, watch out, your horse might slam into a wire.
Might. It's almost definite to run right into something.
Right, we're done with Sony. So Sony's done with everything else. So are we done with them?
Yeah.
Sure. See what happens. Yeah. I mean,
right.
All I take out of this is, at this point, is I do enjoy E3. It's just going to be a little less interesting because I usually enjoy Sony's press conferences the most, just because I have a PS4 and it's my main console, so that kind of sucks. But there's stuff. There's obviously good internally in Sony why they're not going to E3, so we'll see what they'll do their own press conferencing.
Now you can watch the 3-hour presentation from the AMD PC gaming show, and then you might get converted to an ops race.
Yeah, as long as they don't have the same guy host it again this year, I'll be fine.
All right, moving on to.
Don't you normally get ill around that time? Every year, like that summer flu,
like clockwork. Something about like June 13th ish. My immune system just gets super weak, and I'm out for a day or two. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, you just start slamming the vitamins.
I like how you said it like that. That's how I say it all the time. I'm like, hey, where's the vitamins?
The vitamins.
The vitamins, yeah.
Well, you're just making very, very expensive urine, so don't bother.
Yeah.
You know what? They actually work for me. That's
vitamins.
Well, vitamins combined with echinacea. Take a lot of echinacea.
What you take? What do you got? You taking some multivitamins there?
Usually
doing it separate. Yeah.
Yeah, you take. I got separately. 36 tablets a day.
Yeah. I got my D3, fish oil, a multivitamin, and I think that's.
I actually saw
there's a scientific study that said fish oil is crap.
Yeah, that was the article I was going to talk about. I just read that. They're like, yeah, this fish oil thing is total horse shit.
Actually,
no, don't put bullshit I have like fish oil, just to confirm.
I think I have like two more fish oil tablets left in the thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it again, but I'll take the D3 just because there's a lot of sunlight in the winter.
Right.
You don't get a lot of sunlight, Christ. I'm in the UK.
Yeah.
Just grey, cloudy, depressingness.
I wish that the summer in Kyoto wasn't so horribly humid and hot. Otherwise, I would have gone out more and actually got some sun. But even in the summer, I tend to stay in because the weather is so terrible. Oh, can I crack my beer? Is this like, do we all have to like crack it at the same time? Is there a ritual?
Well, I don't- I
I've
don't
already
know.
finished
It's
one,
good.
Evan.
God damn it! He doesn't even wait for me. Just kidding. So this is. Are we showcasing beers now? Are we gonna wait?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we can.
We have them.
What do you got going on?
I think last time I introduced my favorite kind of big company beer, the Sapporo Black Label. It's just got a black star on it,
Yeah.
and it's it's just like you have Asahi Super Dry, Kirin Ichiban Shibori. Say that 5 times fast. Suntory Premium Malts, and then Sapporo Black Label. They also have one that you can pretty much only find in giant like 600 milliliter bottles that are mostly often sold at like bars.
Okay.
So like you'll get a table and it's just really popular to order in big bottles, and they'll bring the bottle to you and pop the top, and they'll just give you like really
Little
small,
tiny
like basically
glasses.
essentially tasting glasses, and everyone kind of shares the bottles. So you can't really
Bless you.
find. Bless you. You can't really find it in stores, but for some reason this year they've been selling it in limited quantities in a can, which is really rare. So this is the Sapporo Red. It's called Akaboshi, which just means Red Star.
Okay.
So basically, this is the Sapporo Red Star beer, which originally came out in 1936. And it says 2018 on the top of the can there, which leads me to believe that at the end of the year, they're going to stop the production of it.
Interesting. Okay.
So to actually have it, to actually be able to drink it in my house, I'm quite happy. It's a bit expensive, but I like it. So I said that Black Label is my favorite of the big company beers, but this is my favorite for sure.
Is it
it's a Pilsner lager. That's where all the big beers in Japan are all the same kind of beer.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll be sharing.
It's just the style that everyone likes.
Yeah,
because it's challenge the taste buds. I don't know. It's just the drinkability is there, and like that's pretty much what Japanese in general care about. Like, is it easy to drink? Low alcohol content.
refreshing.
Yep, refreshing. Yeah, crisp, refreshing lager. That's like the most popular beer style here. So, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
drinking.
because there's some weird people who like milk stouts.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that a little later. But for tonight, I am actually drinking Tenaya Creek Craft Pilsner, and of course my camera's backwards, so you can't really read it. But
is that like a cattle skull?
yeah.
Is that what that is?
So
Okay.
this is
cool.
this is a brewery that's probably about 10 minutes from my house.
Oh man, that's nice.
Yeah, and they do really good stuff. This is a craft lager. It's a standard American style. Crisp, clean, easy to drink. It's 35 IBUs, I think, so it's a little bit lower on the hop, but just a little bit more than normal. You know, because we're American, we gotta have some hop.
Yeah, in everything, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty easy drinking. I think it's probably around 5 on ABV.
Yeah, that's the set. I'm not really sure about all the basic, like Miller, Coors, those types of beers. Are those all 5%? Or are there somewhere in between there?
It's
Because all the Japanese beers, all the main ones I just mentioned before, they're all 5% straight.
Yeah, I think Miller, PBR, Coors, Budweiser. You've got a variance of like 4.5 to 5% probably.
Yeah. I think I actually a couple years ago went online and looked at all this stuff. Yeah, I think it's like 4.2 to 5 usually, somewhere about in
Yeah,
there.
it's not a big difference.
So so what do you got, Keith?
I've got Yorkshire tea in a Tennessee Titans.
How many IBUs you got in there?
I bet the tea is
It's
actually more
very,
bitter than his beer.
Yeah, it just like five. Like okay.
very
Yeah.
drinkable, very smooth. Yes, I'm not drinking it. What's it now?
Wait, did we
Nearly
establish?
10 to 7.
Keith, did we establish this? You're not a coffee drinker, right?
No,
Or are you?
yeah,
No,
can't
you're
stand
not.
stuff.
Okay. You can't stand it. Yeah. No, same as my friends from London and in Bristol. If we have to wake up early for like a Liverpool game, like on a at a random time, they're just drinking tea. I was like, I can't. Like, I like tea. I like tea a lot, but in the morning, like, I couldn't start my day with tea. I just can't do it.
Yeah,
That's because
it
you're a
doesn't give me
heathen.
the same kick. I can't do it.
But I will say what I do like is in the morning, I'm just drinking coffee until like noon or 1. I used to drink it longer, but I think it's fucking up my sleeping schedule. So my rule is just like around noon, I'll switch over to tea because tea, barley tea, which is like one of the most common Japanese teas, are the cheapest. It's just readily available in the teacher's office, so I just drink that for the rest of the day. So I do enjoy tea. It's especially in the winter time. You know, I can't drink coffee all day.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I had a beer from a brewery I've never heard of before called Weird Beard Brewery. And it was the Duke of Dank.
The Duke of Dank.
Yeah, I saw that on
Yeah.
Twitter. What
It was, it was
what
quite
style of
nice.
beer was it?
It was an IPA, but it was a live beer and it's quite strong as well. It's 6.3.
Nice.
So you wouldn't want too many of those. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to read the label and didn't read that it was a live beer, so it had the yeast in it. So when I poured it, I ended up with a drink. So I had to let it settle in the glass and then drink it.
That's funny. Oh yeah, it's was it Pacific Northwest style red IPA, a Pacific
Really good.
Northwest style. I don't know how that's different from any other red IPA, but
It's more northern and westerly,
oh, okay, I get you.
obviously. I don't know.
Right, but the red
Oh,
IPA, that's interesting. It's I think maybe the last episode that I was on, Matt, did we talk about how when I went back to the States, I was just like I went overboard with all IPAs, and it got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I started switching to red ales, and I
Yeah.
discovered that I like really, really like red ales now.
I don't know if we
Um,
talked about it on the stream, but we definitely did talk about it after you got back to Japan.
so yeah, so I kind of switched over from IPA to red ales, and now this is a red IPA, this Duke of Dank. So like I'm curious how it like what was it really really hoppy or
no, not really.
no?
It wasn't. It wasn't what I expected. So it was relatively hoppy, but not.
It didn't
I
peel the
expected the
enamel
colour
off your
to be
teeth.
more. Yeah, well, was it when I finished chewing the yeast? Um,
Yeah, it's at 6.7%. That's pretty heavy.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't the colour that I expected either. It wasn't. So it's saying it's a red IPA. It wasn't actually as deep a colour as I thought it was going to be.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the breweries in Scotland as well, which always helps. Just the best stuff comes from Scotland, except for rugby teams.
I went to a bar.
Bit disappointing. Yes.
I went to a bar last night, and my English friend was with me, and then I was about to leave, and then all of a sudden, one of my Kiwi friends just walks by the bar, and he had an all blacks shirt on with like an all blacks zip up over it, and I was like, I wonder what sport he likes. Well, he's a Kiwi, so of course he supports the All Blacks. I teach with a Kiwi, and she's always wearing all black stuff as well. But he came in the bar, and he was. I mean, it must have been like midnight, so he was pretty lit up. So was my friend, and they went on about the England versus New Zealand rugby game, which was a game match.
Match. It was last weekend. Yeah, they won by 1 point.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
but they lost
that,
to Ireland yesterday. That was great.
Well,
That was an absolute great game.
yeah. Well, England lost to Ireland. They went on like a crazy 16-game run and then lost to Ireland. New Zealand. It's like, what is it? Ireland is for some
Second
reason.
best team.
Yeah.
at the
So
moment.
no matter what, they ended up stopping them. But we don't have to talk about rugby all day. That's as far as I can get with the conversation, anyways.
Well, you need to,
I'm tapped out.
you need to sort yourself out for next year.
Yeah, I am going to a game. I think I'm going to Actually, I don't remember. My friend got tickets. I'm going to a game, Ireland and Russia or something.
That would be really interesting to watch.
Oh, I'm really excited to see it live. It's one of those sports where I see it and I'm like, I should probably get into this because I think I'd really like. I don't know. Do you guys ever? So for me, I got into football or I got soccer about 6 years ago because just my friends in Japan are massive Liverpool fans, and I don't have any American football fans around me here, so I just got absorbed into it because it's like half of their life is Liverpool, is
Right.
LFC, and I'm happy that I did. It took a long time, but not a lot of people get into a sport like later in their lives. It just kind of seems like whatever you watched when you were younger, that's just the sport that you identify with. Or so have you guys ever just like jumped into a sport like way later in your life, or you just suddenly got interested in a new sport?
For me, it was probably the NFL.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We didn't get much TV coverage when I was younger, and I watched the 1999 season Super Bowl, the Rams versus Tennessee, and that's what hooked me.
That's all she wrote. This is a really, really good podcast about
Beer and
games, by the
video
way.
games, yeah.
Well, we've talked about beer, a
Well,
little bit about games.
Yeah.
We'll get into more games later.
That's a very obvious kind of shoehorn us into a section about stuff that we've actually scripted we talk about. Well
Sure.
done, everyone. Right, so the Game Awards are coming up. Okay, none of us cheered, so we're obviously looking forward to that with bated breath.
This year is kind of, it's a bit like a wet blanket.
Why would you say that then? Explain your comment. Explain.
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know how
It's
to describe
underwhelming.
it. It seems like more of the same and not.
It's just going to be one kind of 90-minute advert for whatever crappy
For chic,
trailers.
you know.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think Spotify is on the advertising list for this year in some form. But did you see? I saw it on Twitter. They kind of released a teaser to a world premiere, and everyone was saying it might be like the font looked like the Wayland Yutani font from the Alien universe. So everyone was, or a couple people were saying like, oh, I wonder if there's a new Alien game. But I don't know, like that's not what you would lead with as like your first teaser, because like how many people,
especially since Sega's fucked it up so bad, other than
Yeah.
Isolation.
So maybe the font just looks similar and that's it. I don't know how you guys feel about award shows.
Trolling everyone again.
What's that?
It's just going to be Kojima trolling everyone again, and Jeff Keighley. And
I really hope that they don't
gushing
show
over him.
anything about Death Stranding. Like I'm kind of good with not seeing anything for a while, but
I mean, that
like,
game's not going to come out in our lifetimes, so.
yeah. I'm saying 20. It's coming out 20. I say 2020 on the PlayStation 5.
Get the fuck out of here. 2025 at the earliest.
Yeah. Maybe I was gonna make an Alien movie joke in that. It wasn't. It's not even worth it. It was gonna be really stupid. But like I don't know how you guys feel about award shows. Like I watch the Oscars. I don't really watch anything else, but I like get excited leading up to it. And then it's always like, oh yeah, these things are always really mediocre. And that always happens with the Game Awards as well.
I feel like the last couple of years actually been really excited about it. This
They've
year,
been bettered for sure. You know.
this year though, like, thank you, Keith, for typing up, all the games that are showing up in the different categories. But like Destiny 2, how the fuck is that even nominated for anything this year? Like
Yeah,
that game tanked. It's horrible.
it's definitely. I've never played it. Those types of games are those games as a service are not my type of thing. So yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know, stuff like that. It just sort of I lose interest in the whole production when they're just kind of throwing shit like that in there.
Mm.
Yeah, and what I've tried to do with some categories I wrote down is kind of give them their true title. So we've got best action adventure game, or basically which game does everything the best.
Right.
Because action adventure is covering everything so much now.
Right.
And of those, I've played. I think Evan and you and I both played God of War and Marvel Spider-Man because you platinumed them both, didn't you?
Yeah. Got 2 plats. That's what they called me back in high school. By the way, they called me 2 plats. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I played both of those games, and I'm working on Red Dead right now. Haven't played Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm not really interested in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I kind of wish they would take Assassin's Creed back to before Origins. But
so the only one that I've played on the list is Odyssey, and I like it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, someone else I know who's really enjoying that game is Brian Bentley, who you can hear his thoughts on his podcast, The Starting Point. If you go and listen to him, he's loving the hell out of that game.
You know what? I joke about that, and I bet you any money if I played it. But one thing, everyone said the game is huge. It's like a 100-hour game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Once I heard that, I was like, I can't do that right now, and that.
Oh, Evan's
That's
face
fine. We don't have to listen to it anymore.
I help.
And I switched over to the Japanese server too.
Matt, see, how long have you played it?
It's just Ubisoft trolling him. It's people saying bad things about the game, so it's frozen his string.
I think Evan, are you there?
No, he's gone.
He may have frozen on us. I think he was trying to ask me how long I've actually played the game. How long have
you been playing the game?
I've only put maybe 5 or 10 hours into it.
Okay, so
not much, but enough to know that, yeah, I mean, this is a game that I'm going to probably continue to play. It does help the fact that I got it for free because I joined through the Google Stream beta program.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, yeah, you got it for free. That's can't complain.
No, and that service is fucking amazing.
Definitely.
I'm so blown away by how well that works and how well it looks.
Of the games on this list, what do we definitely think will win and what should win?
God of War will probably win because I think Red Dead's going to take Game of the Year.
I think. Yeah, this is hard because what else is Spider-Man nominated for? Just Game of the Year and Best Action Adventure?
No, but there's Best Performance and Soundtrack score.
Yeah, Shane brought this up on the most recent Game Face too, where he believes that
can a game be the best in your category but not win Game of the Year, or can it win Game of the Year and not be best in category?
Right, he was talking about that, and I don't know how I feel about, like, I didn't totally understand what he's saying, but I think with a lot of awards, they try to be more, they want to give everyone one type of award, especially if it's really hard to separate like the top tier games. So, for example, we've God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead. All of those games should probably win some kind of award. But having said that, Horizon didn't win any awards when it was up for several categories, so that got blanked. So I'm wondering, is like, are they going to really give it to the best game? Let's just say God of War wins like 3 categories, or are they going to kind of like, all right, well, Red Dead's going to win this, so let's give God of War that. You know what I mean? I wonder how they're going to do that. Or
Well, the point that they made on Game Face was the fact that uh, Take Two or Rockstar doesn't really show up to these events. And so, like, if they give it Game of the Year because, you know, it's like the one game that got fucking 10/10s, they're not going to give it to
Doesn't
these
deserve
other.
them.
They're not going to give it to these other categories because nobody's going to show up on stage to accept an award.
Gotcha. Well, I think God of War is going to win, and I think it should win. And I also think it should win Game of the Year, hands down. I was worried going.
Jump categories. Christ,
All right, all right, just don't
We both
remember.
jumped. We both jumped.
Don't remember what I said. Don't remember what I just said.
forget about it.
I think it should win. I was worried going Red Dead. I'm like, man, this is going to be more of a toss up. And after playing Red Dead for like 30 hours, it just reaffirmed like how I feel about God of War being winning the best action adventure game category.
Yeah.
Not
and nothing else for the time being.
Nothing.
Right. No, I know really the three of us aren't big multiplayer gamers, but I included best ongoing game in the category of best game that keeps taking your money.
Sure.
And I've played 2 of these. So I played Destiny 2 a bit. I haven't played the new expansion because I didn't give a shit by the time I got there.
Right.
Boring, repetitive, grindy crap. And I've played a bit of Fortnite. Friend of mine absolutely loves that game. I see him playing it. It's basically the only game he plays now. And
that's unfortunate.
That's just gonna. Well, Fortnite's gonna win that. So let's move on. Does
Actually,
anyone understand?
I think that No Man's Sky has a chance. At least of the games that are on that list, that's the one that I keep coming back to every time they release an expansion, and it's the only one that doesn't keep taking your money. It's just free.
Right. They're still rolling out like I'm
Then
Sorry
it can't
DLC.
win. It shouldn't win then.
Can't win because it's not taking our money.
Yeah. Then where's the money come from if you don't keep taking money from?
Well, so
I would hope No Man's Sky does. I hope it does win, just so all these other games are recognized for constantly taking your money.
yeah,
It would be nice. Yeah.
Next year's winner of that category, best game that keeps taking your money, Diablo Immortal.
There you go.
I'm calling it now.
I want to see that happen just to see Blizzard fans cry.
Yeah. That's what they get for going to BlizzCon.
Ah, dude, that sucks though. Like I felt bad for people who paid money to go.
Oh, that totally. Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, playing. In the reaction to it was a bit, and that's top and uncalled for. But I can. Blizzard kind of set themselves up.
Oh, totally. And I mean, you've based your entire business on hardcore PC fans, and then you're gonna hinge your main yearly event on a fucking mobile game. Really?
Yeah.
Like, who the hell said that was a good idea?
Yeah, it's just like with a lot of this stuff when it comes to like really out of video video game companies. It's just like just go watch the most recent Sterling. He pretty much explained the best out of anyone. But yeah, it would be nice to see No Man's Sky win just because, yeah, like you said, Matt, they've just been rolling this stuff out for free, and the game has just kept improving and improving, and they're wanting to make this right. And I think a lot of people like Matt, Matt Kyle from Game Face keeps going back to it, and I think
Yeah,
people that are fans of No Man's Sky are really enjoying all these new things.
Should you give someone an award for fixing a major screw up?
Well, it's gone beyond that though, because like so 2 major patches ago, which was maybe 6 or 8 months back, so maybe a year after launch, um, they had finally gotten to like a full-fledged like this is a game. This is the game that should have been released. But the patches that they've done since then and the major updates, they're just taking the game in new directions.
Imagine if that was the game that, like, what No Man's Sky is now. Imagine if that was the game.
If the game that you can play today,
won awards. So many awards.
yeah, if the game you could play today had if that was what it was at launch, like people would have lost their shit.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be like that fucking scene from Event Horizon, where people are like tearing their limbs off and like eating their own hairs and shit.
Maybe not quite that bad, but it's a good parallel, you know.
All right,
Yes, I've never seen something so beautiful as this. So I'm going to rip my eyes out.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll give it. No Man's Sky wins the hindsight 2020 award.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah.
There you go. All right.
The next one I had in here is Games for Impact, and I've included because I don't know what the hell they're doing with this category.
But I don't even know what that is.
No, I don't think anyone does. But it's on the blur.
Do we know what the nominees
are? They're all indie games, and the blurb said it's the best game with a political or social message. Oh, jeez. Moving on. Not the Last of Us. What's the new one from Don't Nod? The adventure game.
Adventure game from Don't Nod. Vampire?
No, not the point and click style. Life is Strange Season 1,
right,
or Part 1 is on there, and some other indie games. And next thing was that, you'll see as well, there's no mention of Octodad Traversal in here, because I just don't want you to be talking about it for the rest of the time we're going to be streaming.
It's going to come up. It'll come up, Keith. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so next was Best Action Game, which I thought at first glance was just what would have been first-person shooter, but they've thrown Dead Cells and Mega Man 11 in the list with Call of Duty Blocks, Destiny 2, Far Cry 5.
What the hell? Evan just disappeared on us.
Do we say something?
Just got walked away.
I've offended Evan by not including Octopath Traveler, so he's just walked off.
Oh man, I think just to keep it going with the categories that you've got here, I think that the reason they added Dead Cells and Mega Man 11 to the best action game category was maybe to pad it out, because there wasn't enough like action games and there wasn't enough FPSs this year before the Game Awards to, I think, you know, because if it was best FPS, then it would have been Far Cry 5. I mean, is Destiny 2 really I mean, it's an FPS, but it's more or less an MMO.
Well, if I got bored with it, can it really be classed as an action game?
Right, that too. So
I know other people wouldn't have got bored with it, but Evan, thank you for coming back. We thought that my exclusion of Octopath Traveler just made you walk off.
Sorry, my connection was so bad I had to like go check. I had to turn the Wi-Fi off of my wife's computer. Like I don't know what's going on. That's so bad.
Okay.
I thought it was just like that. That's it. If we're not talking about Octopath Traveler, I'm just not being here.
What'd you guys talk about? Best action game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't play any of those games, so I have no idea. so we can just move on.
Yeah, we were just saying that it's a bit weird that it seems to kind of, it would have been best first-person shooter, but there wasn't enough first-person shooters, so they just threw Dead Cells and Mega Man 11 in to make up a new category.
Yeah, it's just this whole. It's like two of these things are not like the other ones. It's a very strange list of games that shouldn't be compared to each other.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Mega Man 11. Okay.
Right, onto the main topic. I'd like to start with you, Evan, because we don't know what your pick for Game of the Year was.
Yeah, my answer may surprise you. Yeah, it's God of War, and after it's always this weird thing, like games that come out earlier in the year potentially or are possibly don't get recognition later just because it's been so long since people have played them. God of War is probably not in that, doesn't suffer from that as much just because it's one of the best games of the year and people remember that game. Look at Zelda, came out in February or March, was it?
March.
And that game like won a bunch of Game of the Year awards from sites and stuff. So I actually went back to God of War about a month ago to play the New Game Plus mode, because in New Game Plus they actually give you a new currency that you can collect to get a new brand new armor. So it actually gave me motivation to get back into the game, and I wanted to see the new armor set. So I played through about half the game again, and all it did is just remind me of like how amazing the game is. So I'm like, was completely refreshed on my feelings of the game, and they haven't changed. If anything, because I played Octopath and Spider-Man, and then I went back to God of War. I'm like, oh, this is still Game of the Year. And I mentioned it a little bit before, but Red Dead 2, I was like, man, is Red Dead 2 going to make this hard for me to choose between it and God of War? And then like about 10 hours into Red Dead, I was like, nope, absolutely not. God of War is by far the best game of the year. We can get into conversation about Red Dead later if we want to, but I don't think that game is as good as everyone says it is. But anyway, so
I'm going to get up and walk off, but that's not because I disagree with you about Red Dead. It's just I need to go and get myself some water.
Oh, okay, all right. So Matt, looking at this Game of the Year list, what are you thinking?
None of them.
I mean, none of these. Wait, hold on. Let me guess. Your Game of the Year is Technomancer 2, Venus Edition.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean something like that would have been awesome if it had come out.
Or did you replay Colony Wars this year? Is that your Game of the Year this year?
Colony Wars, 3 Red Sun.
All right. Well, this is interesting. So yeah.
No,
what's up?
I don't know. Like Marvel's Spider-Man, I would have preferred a comic book version of Spider-Man. So
did you play it?
No, I haven't played it yet. But
okay.
There's no appeal for me there. Like, you guys have all seen the trailer for Void Bastards.
Oh yeah, Void Bastards. Yeah.
Right, so that style, okay, imagine that style. If they had done that for Spider-Man, I probably would have played it, because it would have been like playing a comic book. When I played the Neversoft version on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, like I remember having distinct memories of, holy shit, this is the first game I've ever played that really feels like a comic book.
Oh, no, man, totally. This game feels more like a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie than it does
I'm
comic book Spider-Man, for sure.
And I'm not into that. That's not really my thing. God of War, I feel like I've been there, done that. There might be some stuff that I'm missing with the sun dynamic, I guess. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it's another Assassin's Creed. I mean, it's better than previous entries. Monster Hunter World, the controls are shit.
Dude,
I don't
did you
know.
play that demo?
Yes,
You
that
played
was
that
why I
demo?
didn't
Yeah.
buy Monster Hunter World. I played the
Fuck,
demo
man.
and the
That
controls are
completely shut me off of that game.
yeah, they're fucking horrible. It's a bad game.
It's
Um,
similar to Red Dead in a way that like the controls are contextual, change depending on the situation. Like if it's fighting or if you're picking stuff up. I'm like, man, I feel like I need like 8 hands to figure this fucking thing out.
right. And then
That doesn't even make any sense.
Red Dead 2 is still kind of too new for me. Like
Mm.
I waited for reviews like I said I was going to. And then shortly after the reviews came out, there was a deluge of articles and videos showing all these fucking bugs. And I was like, well, I don't want to play Skyrim again. I've already dumped 100 hours, probably 200 to 300 hours by now into Skyrim. And I've already
Mm.
dealt with all these types of fucking bugs. And I can't do it with another game, you know?
Are you a fan of the GTA games or the first Red Dead? Have you played any of those?
I have not played the first Red Dead, but yeah, all the GTA games I've played.
Like, how do you feel about GTA games?
None have been ever as buggy as what I'm seeing online.
Sure. Like, I mean, in terms of like, how do you feel about the gameplay? Like, did you enjoy them? Like, do you think they're the?
Well, okay, so the other aspect of Red Dead, which is why I don't really want to play it, is everybody's talking about how slow it is. Like
Mhm.
GTA, I can put in some cheat codes and just blow up a bunch of shit and kill cops. Like,
Or like get drunk and play like 8 rounds of golf.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like my favorite thing to do in that game.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Red Dead doesn't seem to have that. Like, I get that
No.
you're going back in time and you're visiting these amazing vistas, and the game looks fabulous, and I love that period in time in terms of history and whatnot. I don't know if I can spend my time in a video game there.
Mm. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, so Keith, when you were gone, Matt had mentioned that none of these games should be a game of the year in his humble opinion. Wow, that sounded really condescending. That is not what I.
Thanks.
That's not what I meant.
Thanks, Evan.
So okay, I guess we can loop this back around and just talk about all these games in general. But Keith, how about yourself? What are you thinking about this game of the year category? What are you thinking should win, or is it on the list at all?
I thought that this would be a more difficult choice for me, but it's not. And it's God of War.
Oh,
As soon as people started talking about what's your game of the year, well, straight away.
mm-hmm.
It's a more compelling story. It's a hell of a lot less buggy, although I had one bug in the game where a mission wouldn't complete. And whilst I could move on and complete the story, I couldn't actually complete certain aspects of the game. So that kind of put paid to my quest for not getting a platinum trophy.
Oh no, that
Oh,
sucks.
yeah, it does suck.
That's terrible. I didn't come across any bugs.
Yeah, this one was just one
That
mission, just wouldn't complete, so I couldn't get a certain set of armor, the one that gives you more time in poisonous smoke in
Oh,
the maze.
Niflhelm or whatever. Yeah. Oh man, that sucks. That's disappointing.
Yeah, but even with that, it didn't ruin my enjoyment of the rest of the game, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I wasn't a big fan of previous God of War games, and I think this is just a much more streamlined. And then there was light.
Yeah, I was like, man, it's really dark in this room. Like, oh wait, there's a light directly above my head.
So,
I should probably turn that.
Keith, you didn't like God of War 3?
No,
Why?
this is kind of angry guy who goes around hacking, slashing and stuff. It's just mindless violence.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's
why.
why.
Is Evan trying to touch us through the screen?
Yeah, is it working?
Reach out and touch. Anyway,
so
I really liked 3, but
I like 3.
It was
I
the
didn't beat it, but
it was the fact that like everything's scaled so massive, like being able to climb on the Titans and stuff was amazing for the time.
I just found the story a bit um, cut and paste, and as it was the combat was fluid and it's far too kind of QTE heavy. For it was a good game to get in a sale and play for a few hours and just kind of mindless button bashing violence, and then you kill Zeus and everyone goes home. Marvel Spider-Man, I really enjoyed that game.
It's a great game. I same here.
Yeah, but I felt that people talk about Red Dead's pacing. I felt the pacing in Spider-Man was a bit off.
In what way?
So there's the build-up to Otto Octavius becoming Dr. Octopus. We all know what's going on. Do we really need, was it 7 or 8 times you visit the lab and do those scanning missions and little repetitive tasks? I just think that they could have set that up a bit better. I know maybe they were going for a bit of a slower burn, and I didn't think the boss fight at the end was that great either.
No, but I am still of the opinion that most games have terrible. I would say most games have bad boss fights. Final boss fights, most games. And so like I just kind of chalk it up to like, yeah, that was a fight. Like even the final fight in God of War wasn't as good as the initial fight.
No.
But I mean that's just like the law of diminishing returns, because once you do a similar fight the third time, it's not going to be as impactful as the first time. So there's also that. But yeah.
Red Dead 2 for me just didn't. It hasn't gripped me the way the first one did.
How far in the game are you?
I'm I don't know. I'm still in chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Okay. I just started chapter 4, but I heard some of the side content gets cut off after you get to a certain point in the story, so I kind of stopped the story and I'm just going around and doing missions and stuff. All right, I want to tell you this is going to be my feelings about Red Dead in a nutshell. Keith, if you want to say your piece about the game first, and then I can tell this story. I'll try to cut it down as much as I can, but it's important. Instead of telling you how I feel, I'm just going to tell you what happened, and then you can leave it up to yourself if it's good or bad.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of other people who said it better, and I think one of the reviews Matt Kyle talked about on GameFace said that it's simultaneously a 10 out of 10 and a 2 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see where that person who is coming from, because it is a beautiful game. The the level of detail they've put into the world is impressive, and then they've gone and overdone it with your requirement to meet the level of detail they've put in the game. So it stops it from being fun at certain points, because you've got to fill all your meters back up for your health, stamina, and Deadeye. And whilst people, the other comment that I saw was on Twitter yesterday, where someone said it would be the equivalent of the Avengers stopping in the middle of a fight because Captain America needs to use the toilet.
Right. There's a reason why you don't see Super, because it's fucking boring.
Yeah. And as Dave Collier, also known as Erebus Jones, has said, the game has no respect for your time, and it doesn't. If I yesterday I had about half an hour to play the game, I couldn't even complete one side quest in half an hour.
That's a problem.
So, yeah, and that's the game puts barriers in your way to have fun with it. Just something as simple as the new dueling mechanic where you slowly hold down R2 to draw.
That is the worst fucking thing I've encountered in a game in quite a long time. I still don't know how
that
it works.
was a good idea.
It's terrible. I died like 25 times because I had to like it was a bounty mission and I had to shoot the gun out of his hands or else I'd fail it. And if I failed it, it would just reload the start of the duel. 25 times in a row, I still couldn't figure it out. Terrible. Who designed that?
Take them out and duel them. So what you need to do, and I think I was listening to the Podquisition. Jim Sterling was talking about this. You need to hold down R2, you draw, then you release R2, and then you press R2 to shoot. Who thought that was a good idea? Why didn't you just use two different buttons so you're not pressing the same button twice? And whilst you're trying to figure this out, the other person is trying to shoot you, and you've got the prompts coming up in the top corner of the screen in tiny, tiny writing, telling you what it is you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and then it's showing your R2 meter in the bottom right hand of the screen.
Yeah.
And my TV is really big, guys. It's like really, really big.
Oh yeah, I've got the biggest TV.
It's only 55 inches, but I tend to sit pretty close to my TV. I actually had to like look up, like up, top corner, bottom corner. By that time, I got shot, and so yeah, I was just like, just all of that. The UI is just There's so many baffling things in this game.
There's a bunch of games out there that I feel like the UI is super tiny, and I've always been embarrassed to admit it because I felt like I was just getting old.
God of War had the text was too small. They patched that though.
Okay.
I don't know if Rockstar is going to patch some of this stuff. They need to.
No, because they're Rockstar. Buy them again and fuck off.
Yeah. All right. Can I tell you about my recent experience with this game?
You can.
Okay, I can. Okay, I will. No, okay. I haven't said that this yet. So, okay, there's early in the game. There's a mission where a guy the game teaches you that legendary animals exist, and so you can go and it's a grizzly bear. Well, the first time I tried that mission, I died. The grizzly bear mauled the shit out of me, and when I reloaded in the area, I'm kind of like looking around for this thing and I don't see it, and I like put bait down and I'm hiding behind the rocks. 20 minutes later in the top 20 minutes later in the top left hand corner, it's like, oh, the legendary animal is not going to appear for quite some time. I'm like, okay, thanks for telling me that 20 minutes later. So I guess what happens is if you reload a save or die in the area of a legendary animal, it just won't come back for a while. It won't respawn. Okay. So 10 hours later, I'm like, I'm going to give that grizzly bear a try again. I get there and it's like, all right, start looking for clues. And you have to find like 3 clues in the area. It's like basically Assassin's Creed Eagle Eye. Go to the shiny thing, check it. It's hair on the ground. It's bear dung. Then you find it. I kill it, put the pelt on the back of the horse. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this in so I can get a trinket, and you can basically make clothing out of pelts. I was like, but before I go to the city, there's this top half of the map that I haven't explored yet. I'm going to go the long way around before I get to the city, see what's up there. So I'm riding around and I see like a house on top of a hill. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go there. Went in there, found some interesting things, sketched a little picture in my little notebook. Right. Found another cool place. Then I get to another place. It pops up. It's like, oh, there's another legendary animal. It's a moose. I actually run into this guy who's get out of here. Pay no mind to me. And I stick around too long, so I shoot him. No, he pulls a gun on me. I shoot him. There's someone down the hill that sees it. They're like, oh, there's a witness. So I have to run off my horse and into the woods. Wait for the law to come to search. They leave. I'm like, all right. I get back on my horse. I notice the legendary bear pelt is not on it anymore. I'm like, can it fall off your horse? And if you kill an animal, its body will just sit there for a really long time. It doesn't just disappear from the world.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go all the way back, follow the exact path that I took, all the way back to where I skinned the grizzly, see if I can find this pelt. Go all the way back. The grizzly's there. It's skinned. It's there, but there's no pelt. I'm like, well, fuck. No legendary pelt. Like I can't. I just in case I got to reload my save. Reload my save. Well, guess what? It reloads me back where the before I killed the grizzly bear. It's not there anymore because it says, legendary animal won't be back for some time. Although it didn't say that this time. So I'm like, okay, fuck this. I'm just gonna go back to the moose because I didn't try the moose yet. I'll get that pelt first. I'll come back to the grizzly later. So I have to go back to the house that I saw earlier and sketch in my notebook and stuff. I get to the moose, get off my horse. I see the moose. I line it up. A cougar comes out of nowhere and kills me. I'm like, fuck. So I reload my save. Well, because I died, now the moose won't show up. I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm just going to go back to town. So I start going to town, and I'm in the middle of the woods, and I hear this guy in a cabin. He's just screaming off the top of his just screaming. He's like, I don't want it. Go on, get. And he's got all these signs around him. It says, no trespassing, don't enter, all this stuff. I'm like, well, I got to see what's going on here. I get off my horse, and I go up to the guy. I'll go up to the house. He kicks the door open, and before I can do anything, he shoots me with a shotgun and kills me. So I lose like $80. Then when I respawn, I was like, what the fuck was that about? So I go back to the cabin. The guy's not there anymore, but there's my pool of blood where he killed me. So I'm like, what's this cabin all about? I type in online. The shotgun that he shot me with, it's like super rare shotgun. Like you got to kill the guy to get the shotgun. He's not there anymore. I'm like, did he just disappear and I'm never going to get this fucking rare shotgun? I was like, maybe. So I'm like fiddling around trying to see if he's in the woods. He's not there. This took about an hour and a half. I didn't get the fucking grizzly pelt. I didn't get the fucking moose pelt. And now like the fucking legendary shotgun guy disappeared. I got nothing done in an hour and a half. Except I lost $80. Like that's what this game is.
It's
one other thing I'd say about it.
Nothing got done. I was like, oh,
it sounds like
it
sounds like a great framework to shoehorn an online mode in which you have to spend real money on.
Well, that'll be up for best ongoing game of the Game Awards.
I'm just saying, Red Dead Online's coming. You guys know it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I found is I don't know if people were just angrier in the late 19th century, but literally anyone you come across 2 seconds away from either trying to punch you in the face or shoot you in the back.
Yep.
There was one time, I think I put it on Sifted and got downvoted a couple of times. I was just standing in a doorway of the hotel in Valentine, and there was nothing to say anything was going on, and all of a sudden I heard, right, that's it, mister, and this guy punches me in the back and I go flying into the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm now in a fist fight with a guy outside the hotel. I knock his ass out, and now I'm wanted. So I have to jump on my horse and leave town. So I couldn't start the mission that I was about to start.
Just earlier today, I had no bounties. Right, I'm good. Like my meter is way towards the right. I went into a town. I went to the bar. Went up to the bartender, ordered a drink. She pulled out a shotgun, started shooting me. The whole town went aggro, and they killed me. I was like, I didn't do anything. I just wanted a drink. I didn't bump anyone. But okay, I'll give you a very brief story. So that my grizzly bear, moose, weird guy in the woods. That's my 3 out of 10. On the other part, I want to go to a town, and I again explore an area of the map that I've never explored before. And I come across this town that's been abandoned. It's a very small town. It's like Pleasantville or something like that. And there's like one there's like a church and then there's a barn, and on the barn it says like, don't come in, plague. And there's like a couple houses that have burnt down. And like there's no storytelling there. There's no side quest. It's just there, and you kind of it's visually telling you a story. Like, oh, okay, something really fucked up happened in this town, and everyone abandoned it. But on the top, just above the town, on this mountain, I see a single cabin with smoke coming out of the chimney. I'm like, oh well, someone's up there. I go up there, and as I get close, I hear people just piss drunk inside. and they're just like they're making fun of each other, and they're just like just taking the piss out of each other. And I look in the window, and yeah, they're around the table, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go in and shoot them. But then one by one, they start passing out. I'm like, I'm going to bed. And then like they just all pass out. I'm like, oh, okay. So instead of shooting them, I go in and start looting all the bodies. Well, I accidentally tapped a body. One guy woke up and he's like, "What the hell, mister? Get the fuck out of here." I don't know if he said fuck, but they all started shooting me. I ran outside. I killed 4 of them, and there's like 1 guy left. And then automatically Arthur's like, "All right, come out. I ain't gonna kill you. All your friends are dead, buddy." And he comes and I was like, "All right, I don't want any trouble." And I don't want trouble. He's like, check under my pillow. That's where we hid our cash. Just don't shoot me." I was like, "All right, go on, get." And he runs in the woods. If I would have killed all of them, I never would have known the money was under the pillow. I doubt there was even a button prompt to get it. But so
Why didn't you shoot him after he told you where the money was?
Because you probably get minus points for it, and
Okay.
so there's like a binary. There's a meter at the bottom, like like the Paragon whatever system.
This is like
And
Mass
so
Effect.
if you, yeah, it's dumb though, because like
You're a murdering, thieving.
if I
outlaw.
shot him in the back, I probably would have gotten minus points for that. Or like if you loot strangers' bodies that like aren't bad guys, you'll just like automatically get minus points for that. I'm like, what is this meter? Is this like God judging me? Like there's no one around. It doesn't make any sense. Like I looted this raider's body, nothing. I loot this stranger's body, it's just a citizen, and I get minus points or whatever. My little icon goes a little bit into the red. I don't understand why they still have these stupid binary systems in the game. But anyways, that story was just, I ran across this burnt out town, and they, and then I had this really interesting shootout on the top of a hill. So like those things are so cool. Like those are the great parts of that
Right.
game. But when you have those stories, and then you have all the other stories that Keith and I have been explaining. I'm sorry, we talked about Red Dead a lot. I guess it did just come out, but sorry, Matt. I know you haven't played it yet, but
One thing
I'll play it in 2 years, so don't worry about it.
But I'm done talking about Red Dead. But yeah, that's my experience with the game. It's those experiences, and then just the good and the bad. And it's like that's the reason why I can't say it's game of the year. But Keith, do you have anything to add at the end of that?
Well, what I was going to say is, I think something else that doesn't make any sense, particularly for you, Evan, is no Yakuza game is nominated in any category.
Yeah, I think it should be. I think it should be. Which game came out this year? Kiwami 2, right?
Yeah.
You would know better
Yeah.
than us.
Yeah, Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is a remake of Yakuza
Second.
2
Yeah.
in the new PlayStation 4 Dragon Engine. It's a remake. Oh, if you're talking about best action game, Yakuza
Why
Kiwami 2.
why isn't that nominated? Best action game.
I don't think that. Well, I think those games are popular for a very small
Niche.
group of people. It's very niche, and a lot of it is like cultural stuff that some people just like they can't get into some of the story because they just don't know enough about a lot of the Japanese cultural stuff that's in that game. You could say that's an excuse because plenty of games, but there's not a lot of games that take place in modern Japan or contemporary Japan, and I don't know. It should be.